welcome to another exciting update for Ocean Liner Design's Grand Voyage. My name is Mike Brady, I'm the producer of this project. Now the team has been very hard at work over the last few months and we cannot wait to show off what we've been working on. Grand Voyage is a virtual experience designed to bring long-lost worlds back to life, specifically the great forms of transport of the 19th and 20th centuries. In the game, players will be able to explore and relive meticulously crafted and researched environments, on board famous passenger ships at sea, or in majestic zeppelins soaring high in the sky. It's not just about the vehicles either, it's all about their life and times, the people who travelled on and worked inside them. It's about the amazing places they visited and operated from. This is a deeply interactive, ambient environment designed to transport you back to a different time and place. At launch, you'll be able to explore environments from the 1910s, the 1920s, and the 1960s in famous ports like Southampton, Quebec, and Liverpool. Now, in our next game update, I want to give you a bit more of a look into how the game works and the actual gameplay element, but for now the focus is still on creating all the unique assets needed to bring the game environments to life in the first place. Now, before I show off any of the more fancy things that we've been working on, I just wanted to take a moment to thank all of the patrons of the Grand Voyage Patreon. Patrons get early access to the game before it's released, and they'll also receive all updates and goodies ahead of the general public. If you like what we're doing here, please consider heading to patreon.com/grandvoyagegame to support our work and the upcoming game. Now, one element key to Grand Voyage's deeply ambient feeling is the use of music, and we've been working with some brilliant composers to create an original soundtrack to the game that will help bring the different eras to life. The game's theme is a stirring tune, an anthem to the grand ocean liners and airships that are long lost. The theme that you heard at the start of this video and you're hearing now was written by Melbourne, Australia native John Asquith, and it plays in the main menu. Now, you hear it and you cannot help but imagine a giant ship towering over you at the dockside. Now, John's written a fitting theme for the game and an ode to the great ships and airships of old, and he'll work on more music for us too. But we've also worked with other artists as well on some of the ambient tracks that will actually play in different levels. Each ship or vehicle and every historical environment will have its own theme song, drawing inspiration from stories or themes related to the ship. Alex, Simeon, and Ievor from Score Twins, a music studio in Bulgaria with plenty of experience working on a number of video game projects, have taken on a challenging assignment, taking inspiration from different themes to help create a deeply atmospheric feeling once you step on board your ship in-game. Here's some examples. Laconia, Queen of the Atlantic cruise market when she was first introduced in 1963, an elegant, luxurious former ocean liner designed to whisk passengers away to sunnier climes. How about the Empress of Ireland, the beautifully appointed ocean liner from 1906? She became an instant favourite with Irish migrants thanks to her name, and for many, this was their first time ever at sea on a big ship. Now, it's not just the ships that get a theme song either. Each historic port will have its own soundtrack. Take Southampton. The hustle and bustle of the port is captured by the exciting strains of violins and the ringing of tubular bells. We'll share more of the soundtrack soon, but it's safe to say you'll be transported to another era entirely, thanks to the efforts of John, Alex, Simeon, and Eva. Now at the moment, we are deep in the asset creation stage of the game's development. An experience like Grand Voyage needs hundreds of unique 3D models and textures to actually bring the environments to life, and to that end the team has been very hard at work. Speaking of Southampton, we've teased this majestic environment with our patrons, and now we are really excited to properly show off some of our progress. This depiction is of Southampton in 1963 with Laconia tied up awaiting departure. In Grand Voyage, you'll be able to experience a voyage on board an ocean liner from end to end, starting at the point of departure and eventually arriving at your destination, not in real time, but in a series of transitional levels. Each level is designed to create a different atmosphere and to teach you, the player, about a specific part of that featured ship or airship's life. For Laconia, the voyage begins at Southampton. Now, recreating Southampton from that exact place and time has not been easy, and Matt, the project's lead developer, and Matteo, one of our very talented 3D modelers, have poured hours of research into the surroundings and the various interesting structures that made up the port. Their pride and joy, and the absolute jewel in the crown of the recreated space, is Southampton's magnificent Lost Ocean Terminal building. Back in 1911, sheds were built here for passengers to leave luggage, pass for inspection, and actually board their ship. By the Second World War, these were dilapidated and quite poorly. A plan was actually put into place, but it was delayed by the war, and in 1950 Southampton finally unveiled an incredible new building. Somewhere between a train station and a modern-day airport terminal, this building was enormous and incredibly Art Deco in its design, providing balconies for visitors to wave friends and family off, as well as sprawling, polished halls for first and tourist class passengers waiting for boarding time. The most famous users of the ocean terminal were Cunard's queens, Queen Mary and Queen Elizabeth, and now you will be able to explore and learn all about this fascinating place. Now this is a unique opportunity because that gorgeous terminal building was demolished in the 1980s. So recreating the building in Grand Voyage was no easy task, and thanks to Matt and Matteo's efforts, we now have a stunning 3D model that we'll be kitting out with all kinds of props and interactive items to teach you more about not just the ocean terminal, but the port of Southampton as a whole. Now Matteo's also been updating our pre-existing models. Lucas is one of our talented 3D exterior modelers, and he's created some magnificent models of the Laconia and the Empress of Ireland for our launch product, but Matteo has assisted with adding even more detail like hull plating, which is no easy task whatsoever. So this is a complex assignment, and the most recently finished hull is that of Laconia. Now for the first time since 1963, you'll be able to gaze again on all the tiny details that made up this unique and long-lost ship. It's actually a deeply moving and unusual experience to get so close and personal with ships like Laconia and the Empress of Ireland in the dry dock level and let all those details really sink in. Now the team's been working a lot on the outside of the ships to be sure, but they've also been working hard on the insides as well. Liam, our lead interior modeler, has essentially completed most of the interiors we plan to feature for the Empress of Ireland. The guiding mantra for the ship's interiors in Grand Voyage has been to include only rooms and spaces we feel best encapsulate the character of the ship. To that end, I can say for certain that at launch you can expect the Empress's gorgeous music room, the first-class cafe, the dining saloon, the first-class staircase and main entrance, a selection of cabins, and the wireless room. With future updates, we plan on expanding this list, and I'll come back to this later in the update video, but there's one more space we need to talk about for the Empress of Ireland. Sure, the timber paneling was stunning and the furnishings were comfortable, but beneath all that was a machine, and it needed to cross the mighty Atlantic at a swift pace. So to do it, towering expansion steam engines were fitted to turn the ship's massive bronze propellers, and we're excited to announce that in Grand Voyage, you'll be able to see the Empress of Ireland's engines once again. Ethan, one of our newest team members, has been modelling a fully animated recreation of the Empress of Ireland's massive steam engines. Now, this is a monumental task because there are so few references for these truly impressive machines. He's been working off of photographs and using his own deep knowledge of ship's engines to create a model that you'll be able to walk around and explore as if you were one of the ship's own engineers. Now these visuals are very early, and everything you see in this update video as a whole is actually a work in progress. At the moment, Ethan's working on animating the eccentric rods for the engine, which are missing here, for instance, but you can see how impressive the work is and how amazing it will look in-game. And that's not all. Ethan's starting work on the boiler rooms as well, so you'll be able to walk straight through all the major machine spaces of the ship. Now, Ethan is a very talented 3D modeler, and so is Sylvie. She's another recent member of the team, and she's joined as a texture artist and 3D modeler to help bring many of the finer details that will help bring these ships convincingly to life. In Grand Voyage, the player will be able to interact with lots of 3D props. For example, this life jacket from the Laconia. The props are scattered throughout the ship and tell a complete picture of the life and times, not just of the vessel, but of its crew and passengers. Sylvie is working through a huge list of prop ideas, sculpting them in her 3D software and then texturing them to be used in-game. Sylvie's also working with our historical advisor, Robin, on reproducing the various fine textures needed for the ship's interiors, all the silken wallpapers, lush carpets, elegant tiles, and the finely polished timber need to be made from scratch. The pair have been using as many resources as they can, including rare colour illustrations, to bring the interiors to life, and we cannot wait to show these off to you soon. A unique aspect of Grand Voyage is that we're recreating not just life at sea, but life in the air. So Tino, our airship specialist, has been working very hard on bringing to life his model and his recreation of the infamous airship, the R101. This massive craft was lost on its maiden voyage in a tragic accident, and now you will be able to explore it as if it were brand new, both inside and out. Tino's worked very hard on the exterior, adding lots of fine details from the few plans and photographs that survive from the R101. The engine cars we actually showed off last time, but newer developments include a start on the R101's interiors. Now these were spaces over 2 decks, one for crew and one mostly for passengers. He's worked on the control car, where the crew would actually operate the airship, and now he's working his way up, blocking out the crew spaces and even working on the asbestos-lined smoking room. Now it seems counterintuitive to have a smoking room on an airship filled with highly flammable gas, but the room was enclosed and asbestos-lined so that the sparks couldn't spread to the rest of the ship. R101 will offer a very unique, totally different experience to the other ships in the game at launch. One special thing that will make Grand Voyage feel much more like the real deal is the inclusion of people. Characters dressed in period-accurate clothing to help make it feel like these are real environments and not empty of life. We are deep in creating assets for these characters and are still implementing them into the game. Anna, our specialist NPC clothing artist, has made a variety of accurate outfits for people aboard RMS Empress of Ireland, starting off with the crew, including sailors and stewards. Kelsey, our engineer, has been testing NPC AI behaviours and pathing so that the people will be able to walk and behave naturally around the ships. Soon you'll be able to visit the music room of the Empress of Ireland or the ocean bar on the Laconia and see people chatting, reading or drinking like they would do on a real ship. Now at the moment we're working to a 2024 release date, and it's been very exciting seeing all these new assets added to the game so far, but we still have a long way to go. Now at the main release you can expect the Empress of Ireland, the Laconia and the R101 Airship, but we're looking at adding to this lineup with subsequent releases after the first release. Because of that, we've been preparing for these early DLC releases as well. Last month we announced Andrea Doria as one of the first to be released after launch. This famous ship has entered legend. She was a beauty of a thing but was lost after a collision in the 1950s. Matteo has lovingly modelled her exterior, and soon will be working on bringing her into the game with a likely 2025 release, and so too with Aquitania. Lucas has worked hard on this magnificent ship and created a massive, stunning model, by far the largest ship made for Grand Voyage yet. We aim to have an Aquitania experience ready for release to Grand Voyage in 2025 as well. Now, like I said at the start of the video, soon I want to be able to show off some of the aspects of gameplay and what you can actually expect to do inside the experience. But what the team has made so far is truly an ambient, relaxing environment where for a moment you can step back in time and see these amazing machines as they truly were, not in the blurry black and white way we're accustomed to seeing them through contemporary photographs. The environment is so relaxing, in fact, that we've started to upload a series of ambient videos which run for 1 or 2 hours, so you can experience life at sea and have it running in the background. We put one up just last week on this YouTube channel for the Empress of Ireland, but we'll be doing more in the lead up to the game's release, so keep an eye out. Once again, thank you so much for all of your support and for watching our videos and our updates. If you're enjoying what it is that we're doing, please leave a comment below or subscribe to the channel. Or even better, go and visit our Patreon, patreon.com/grandvoyagegame. Every little bit helps in recreating this very special experience. Patrons get early access to updates, as well as some other goodies like screenshot wallpapers, as well as the ability to earn really cool and special merch, like this vintage-style travel luggage sticker and a coffee mug. So until next time, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again.